Hello, this is Yogeshwar 7000 again, and I'm back with a very interesting and important topic, rather, on Navamsha. So, I have created a couple of videos earlier on what Navamsha is, how it is created. There are two videos there, which is Understanding Navamsha, video 1, and Understanding Navamsha, video 2. The first video did talk about how a Navamsha chart is created with respect to the zodiac signs, and the second video did cover and explain as to how planets, the 9 planets, are placed in the Navamsha. And of course, these are given based on the rules explained by the great sages. So there are rules, specific rules as to how Navamsha is created, and there is no question to that why they have created that rule, because that's what the sages have said. So please refer to those videos, and you will understand as to how a Navamsha is created and what a Navamsha is all about. And just a quick recap, without getting into the details of how to create a Navamsha chart and how to understand how planets are placed into a Navamsha. A Navamsha chart is basically a chart which is a chart created out of dividing a Rashi or a zodiac sign into 9 parts. And the Navamsha chart is extremely important to us because the ninth house, as we know, is the house of luck, and also it is the house of religion and our dharma, and that makes it extremely important. And as per the sages, the Navamsha chart is to be taken into consideration. One, of course, for fortune and dharma, which it represents, and also for your spouse or for marital relationships, or rather any kind of relationship. It could be a business relationship or a marriage relationship. Mostly it is considered for marriage relationships. Now, Navamsha has been given a lot of importance in the ancient scriptures by the great sage Parashara, and also the second generation to sage Parashara, which is sage Jaimini. He has given a little more importance to Navamsha, and he has explained how the 7 karakas, which is plus the 2 other karakas, actually their placement in the Navamsha chart gives us a lot of insight about a person's life, a person's each aspect of his life, rather. So, as compared to Sage Parashara, Sage Gemini has given a little more importance to the Navamsha chart. The recent sages, Mantreshwara, he has explained a lot in his work Phaladipika about the Navamsha chart. Kalyan Verma in his Saravali has explained a lot about the Navamsha chart and how predictions can be made, how a Navamsha chart can be interpreted. And so we are on the same page as far as understanding and knowing the importance of Navamsha chart is concerned. There is no doubt about that. So how do we interpret a Navamsha chart? Now, a lot of astrologers say that the Navamsha chart actually is it works, or rather gets activated in the second part of one's life. However, no sage has ever mentioned that. I think this is out of an experience of a few astrologers, that they may have felt that the importance of Navamsha chart increases after mid-age or around 35 to 40 years of age. But this has not been mentioned in the ancient sages. As a matter of fact, Navamsha is a very important tool right from day one, because it gives us an insight of what we may not be able to see from the main Lagna chart, or the Rashi chart as is it called by some. So please do not ignore the importance of Navamsha chart, even if an individual whose chart you're reading is not of middle age. It's very, very critical. And why it is critical more so is because sometimes there are issues in somebody's lives, like a marriage or like a career, or like important things in life related to his health or diseases. And sometimes we may not be able to understand completely through the main chart. So we have to go into the Navamsha chart and understand as to why this is happening. Sometimes it's very, very difficult to understand. You may see a great planet sitting in the house of marriage, say, for example, and there's a problem related to somebody not getting married or finding the right partner. So a Navamsha chart will give a clue to that. Sometimes there could be problems related to other issues other than luck, dharma, and marriage, which we have been talking about. Even other issues, like a simple thing like buying a house. That also, if you're not able to figure out from the main chart, go to the Varga charts, and the Navamsha chart along with the other Varga chart has to be taken into consideration. Just to give you an example, a career chart is generally considered to be the D10 chart, or the Samsa chart, which is a chart created out of dividing the zodiac sign into 10 parts. However, along with the Dasamsa chart, one has to take into consideration the Navamsa chart as well, because that's the general house of luck. That gives us a good indication. So do not, even if you're studying other Varga charts, do not ignore the Navamsha chart, because it can give a lot of insight which we may not be able to get from the main chart or from that specific chart which is related to that area. Like, for example, I discussed about the D10 or the Dasansa chart for career or prestige. So if you're looking at a career of a person, look at the main chart, look at the Sansa chart, of course, and do not ignore the Navamsha chart. Navamsha is generally the major Varga chart out of the 16 Varga charts which have been explained by Sage Parashar. And of course, the Navamsha is mostly related to marriage and spouse. It is related to dharma and general luck. That is the prime focus. So what I was trying to say is that consider Navamsha regardless of whether it is not related to a specific area like a D10 chart or the Sansa chart, which is related specifically to the career part. Now, as we all know, that the Navamsha chart is a chart which is subdivided into 9 parts, and these are 9 equal parts. And if you subdivide 30 degrees of a zodiac sign, it comes to 3 degrees and 20 minutes. And a zodiac sign or a lagna changes every 2 hours, as we know that every 2 hours or 120 minutes the lagna changes. So the 9th division will also change accordingly, but it will change not in 2 hours as the lagna changes, because we calculate the lagna from the eastern horizon. It changes 9 times quicker than the 2 hours. So divide 120 minutes by 9 times and you will get approximately 120 divided by 9 would give you approximately 13.33 minutes as far as changing of a Navamsha is concerned. So a Navamsha will change every 13.33 minutes, and it could change faster because not necessarily the person will be born Exactly. After 2 minutes, he could be born at a cusp, where his Navamsha could be at a cusp, and you could see he could be born on the 13th minute of a Navamsha, which means that in another 20 seconds his Navamsha may change, because it's 13.33 minutes. It changes, the Navamsha changes. So the Navamsha, if he is born at the 13th minute of a Navamsha, just to give you an example, the Navamsha may change in another 20 seconds. So a Navamsha changes, and everything changes. All your predictions and all your calculations and all your analysis just go crazy. So it's very important as to be very sure about the timing of Navamsha. And a lot of astrologers, because of this reason, do not even consider Navamsha, but it's critical. And sometimes predictions go wrong because of the very fact that Navamsha changes so quick, and based on a wrong Navamsha, a prediction is made and everything goes wrong. So how do we look at Navamsha? First of all, if we consider the factor which is related to marriage and partnerships, which is related directly to the Navamsha chart as described by the sages, what do we have to do? How do we read it? Well, first look at the seventh house of the main chart or the Lagna chart, and then see as to what planets are sitting in the seventh house, and then look at their placement in the Navamsha chart. That is an extremely accurate way of finding out as to what the real issue is and what the real fact is. It'll give you a complete picture of what the issue is related to the seventh house. That is one way of looking for factors related to the seventh house of marriage and partnerships. Now, if we look at the planets placed in the ninth house of the main chart as well, which is about fortune, see what planets are sitting in the ninth house and in the main chart, and then look at those planets which are sitting, or look at the same planet, how it is placed in the Navamsha chart. That also will give you a great idea as to how do you interpret a Navamsha chart. So that is related to pretty much what areas Navamsha chart is giving us an insight about. Now, if there are no planets sitting in the main chart in either the seventh house or the ninth house, then we have to look at the lords of those houses, the seventh house and the ninth house, and see how they are placed in the Navamsha chart, and you'll get an idea as to what the real issue is when we go into the Navamsha chart and try to figure out the issues related to those areas like general luck and also the spouse and marriage related matters. Now, another way of interpreting a Navamsha chart is if you look at vargottama. Now, vargottama is when a planet is, and people who have not seen my video on vargottama, please refer to it. Vargottama is when a planet is sitting in the same sign, zodiac sign, in the main chart and in the Navamsha chart. That planet assumes a great benefic nature because it becomes extremely strong, and it becomes a big benefic if it is sitting both in the main chart, in the zodiac sign, same zodiac sign, and in the Navamsha chart in the same zodiac sign. And that is called, it is vargottama. The second way a planet can the second way vargottama can come into play is when a planet is sitting in the same house in the main chart, or the Rashi chart, or the Lagna chart, whatever you want to call it, and the same house in the Navamsha chart. So first we saw a planet sitting in the same zodiac sign in the main chart and in the Navamsha chart. That becomes vargottama. And the second thing is when a planet is sitting in the same house, not the zodiac sign, but the same house as the Navamsha chart, that also becomes a vargottama. The third condition is that if the Lagna of the main chart, of the Lagna chart, is the same as the Lagna of the Navamsha, then also it becomes a Lagna vargottama, and that also is an extremely auspicious combination, as to say. So here the Lagna becomes very powerful because it is vargottama, or it is the same Lagna in both the main chart and the Navamsha chart. And also we discussed that if a planet is either in the same zodiac sign or the same house in both the main chart and the Navamsha chart, that also becomes extremely auspicious because it becomes very strong and benefic in that condition. Now, sometimes we see a planet as an exaltation in the main chart, which is the Lagna chart. However, it is not giving the kind of results which we expect. So the clue comes from the Navamsa chart. A lot of people can go to the Navamsa chart and would see that in a planet which is an exaltation in the main chart is actually debilitated in the Rashi chart, in the Navamsha chart. So you can get a big clue out of why it is not being able to give the results. And sometimes it's the other way around. Supposing a planet is in debilitation in the main Lagna chart, and that same planet gets either exalted or it gets in its own sign. So a lot of the negativity of the debilitation of that planet gets removed because of the fact that that same planet is in its exaltation or in its own sign in the Navamsha chart. So that also is a very important way of interpreting the results of a particular, or that planet, or that house even, for which that planet is representing. The other ways of interpreting a Navamsha chart is look at what the Lagna of the Navamsha chart is. And the Lagna is a very important tool of understanding the Navamsha chart related to that Navamsha chart for what it is representing. So Navamsha chart, as we know, represents spouse, dharma, luck. The Lagna of the Navamsha chart is going to give us a great idea as to where that person is going related to his dharma, his marriage, and his general luck. That is one way. Then look at the planets which are sitting in the Lagna of the Navamsha chart. If there are malefic planets sitting there, there could be a challenge in that area. If there are benefics sitting there, things could be smooth in that area. Look at whether the Lagna is in a Shubha Kartari yoga or a Pap Kartari yoga. These are two different yogas. Please refer to my earlier videos on those yogas. That gives us a great idea. So once again, look at the main chart and the Navamsha chart, and it'll give all kinds of ideas as to why those planets may not be working, which look so great in the main chart. Or sometimes, like I said, it's vice versa. Some planets are debilitated and a lot of their negativity gets cancelled if they are debilitated in the main chart but exalted, or they are in their own signs in the Navamsha chart. Now, as far as marriage in specific is concerned, when you look at the Navamsha chart, for males, Venus is a significator for marriage. So look at the placement of Venus in the Navamsha chart. That gives us a great idea. Now, as far as women are concerned, females are concerned, Jupiter is a significator of marriage. So looking at the main chart, and look at how the placement of Jupiter is as far as the Navamsha chart is concerned. That gives us a great idea there as well. Now, like I just explained to you, the Navamsha chart should not be only restricted to these areas, which primarily are the areas which is marriage and partnerships, general luck, and dharma. They should also be looked at based on the houses which are representative of the Navamsha chart. For example, look at a Navamsha chart and look at the lagna of the Navamsha chart. The lagna is going to give us an idea as to how our general constitution and the body and the health is going to be related to the luck of the person. So is a person going to be lucky, because the Navamsha chart represents general luck, the ninth house. Is a person going to be lucky, or is he going to be blessed as far as his body is concerned? Look at the second house. How does the second house look? Is he going to be lucky as far as his money matters or wealth and the family is concerned? Look at the fourth house. How lucky a person is going to be to create a place where he can have great mansions to live, or whether he's going to be living in some poor or not so good housing, because fourth house is about housing and real estate and property also at times. So look at how luck is going to be affecting his place of residence based on the fourth house of the Navamsha chart, because it's representative of luck. So how lucky is he going to be? How luck is going to play a role? That factor can be figured out from the fourth house as far as property related matters is concerned. Children, fifth house. How lucky is he going to be as far as children are concerned? So if we consider children, consider the lagna chart, consider the chart which is related to children, which is the Saptamsha chart out of the 16 Varga charts, and then also look at the D9 chart. How is fortune helping as far as the fifth house of children is concerned? As far as career is concerned, 10th house. Of course, we look at the D10 chart, we already discussed that. We look at the main chart, we also look at the D9 chart. How is fortune going to help this person as far as building his career is concerned? Incomes. How's fortune going to help this person as far as his incomes is concerned? Remember, this is the Varga chart of luck, general fortune. So all the factors related to luck, or all the aspects of this person's life, are going to be affected, because everything is about luck. How is luck going to help him attain these areas of life which are represented through these 12 houses in a chart? So that was a little explanation of how we interpret a Navamsha chart. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. In the meanwhile, I will recommend subscribe to my channel and check out my website. There is a link below, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.